The Other Daughter. Chapter 2. I'm the Affair Baby. That's right, the living, breathing reminder of every scandalous headline and whispered judgment. After that, my dad started visiting us once or twice a month. He'd sit with me, tell me a story, and chat a bit. Occasionally, he'd take me out for a meal. He would console and sweet talk my mom when convenient, or when he wanted something for himself. One day, he came over while my mom was drinking alone. She didn't realize how much she was becoming like Grandma, bitter, resentful, and quick to lash out. She yelled at him, hurling all her anger and frustration. My dad said little at first, but eventually sat down and poured himself a drink. He talked about the shitty things going on in his marriage and life. Together they drank, trading complaints about their miserable lives, until the night blurred into nothingness. The next morning they woke up next to each other in my mom's bed. My dad looked utterly devastated. Turns out, people really can trip over the same stone twice. 9 months later, my little brother was born. The first time I saw that wrinkled little creature, I thought he was the ugliest thing I'd ever seen. His toothless mouth opened wide as he bawled, his face flushed red. I reached out a finger to touch his tiny cheek. Instantly, he stopped crying, turned his head, and latched onto my finger, sucking on it with all his might. With my brother's arrival, my dad moved us into a bigger apartment and doubled the monthly allowance. Life improved a lot. Holding my baby brother, my mom's old ambitions reignited. She kissed his little face and boasted to me, "That woman your dad married only gave him a daughter. But me? Oh, I gave him a son. Because of your brother, your dad will have to treat us well." All because a passing comment my dad made years ago, back when they were still in love, that he'd always wanted a son. It was all in her dreams, of course. My dad had no intention of divorcing his wife, let alone marrying my mom. "Eileen Blanchard," he warned, "don't you dare get any ideas. If you dare bring this up to Delilah, I'll make your life a living hell. You're always talking about wanting to die. Why don't you go ahead and do it already?" Later, I learned that Delilah's family was the reason my dad was so successful. Divorce was never an option. My mom shoved my brother into my arms, screamed, and headbutted my dad in the stomach. "Why don't you just kill us all?" My brother burst into tears. I held him tightly, coldly watching the chaos unfold. If I could have chosen my parents, I'd never have picked them. The fight ended with my mom, battered and bruised, and my dad sporting a bloody scratch across his face. From then on, my mom stopped dreaming of a future with my dad. She finally understood that nothing she does would change anything. With her dreams dashed, she shifted her focus. "Who cares about a wife title?" she said. "You two are his kids. He can't deny that. From now on, I'll spend his money like there's no tomorrow." Why not? Not spending it would be a waste. She threw herself into gambling, staying up all night at the tables. She stopped caring about her looks or figure. Whenever I went to fetch her from a game, I'd find her shoving greasy pizza into her mouth, yelling things like, "Hit me! Come on! I'm all in!" Her world revolved around cards, dice, and alcohol. From elementary school, I reluctantly took on the responsibility of caring for my brother, Jamie. While other kids' first words were mom or dad, his were sissy. When other kids cried, they ran to their parents. When he cried, he came to me. I used to resent this little burden. Because of him, I had no childhood. I couldn't play like other kids. After school, I had to go straight home. My mom would head out to either gamble or drink, leaving my 2 to 3-year-old brother locked at home alone, crying until he was hoarse, covered in filth. One stormy night, she didn't come back. Thunder roared outside, and I huddled under my blanket, trembling. I've always been terrified of thunder. It's like a wild beast, ready to devour me. In the dark, a tiny figure climbed into my bed and snuggled into my arms. Just as I was about to comfort him like countless times before, he gently patted my back and murmured, "Don't be scared, sister. Don't be scared. I am here. I will protect you." I cried and held him tight. He was 5 years old that year. That was the moment I truly understood what love between siblings meant.